For the purpose of the demo, there are only one sphere in the deck, so he only has Guardian cards.
Okay.
But you could add those Seeker cards as well. And then for each one, they have a special item that goes into the deck, plus 2 weaknesses that go in as well. And those don't count against the 30 card. They're in addition to the 30 card.
That's kind of cool.
And then
It's 2 of each card.
Is there a max number of each card you can have?
2. You can only have 2 of each card in the deck. So I know they usually do 3, but for this game it's 2. All right. Check to see if you have any weakness cards in your hand. No, you're good.
I don't think so.
You're fine. If you had, you would set them aside and put them, shuffle them back into the deck. You don't start with them. So how this game works, there will generally be a bad phase and then a good phase. In the bad phase, we will add Doom to the agenda deck. When you hit the number on the bottom corner, the deck advances. So you go to the next card. If you get all the way through this deck, that usually ends the scenario with a bad resolution. I don't call it losing because you still continue to the next scenario, but there will usually be negative effects for when you play that next scenario. So you might start with fewer resources or the like. So you don't want that deck to go through. After you add a Doom, you then each get an encounter card. These are usually monsters or traps or hazards that affect you. After that, you have the investigator phase. You'll each get 1 turn, during which you get 3 actions. The basic actions, you can always draw a card or gain a resource. You start with 5 resources, so you should actually have 1 more in your pool. So that's the basic, action to draw a card or action to gain a resource. As an action, you can play a card from your hand. The cost is in the top left. That's how many resources you have to pay to play it. The types are assets, which stay in play permanently, events, which happen and then get discarded. You may also have a skill card, which does not have a cost in the top left. You may or may not, they're a little more rare. Those are only useful for skill checks. And skill checks are the primary resolution mechanism. Basically, whenever you want to do something, you do a skill check. It'll have a specific attribute, which is one of these symbols along the top of your card. So willpower, knowledge, strength, and agility. So you start with that value. You can then discard cards that have matching symbols in the banner to add 1 to your value for each symbol you discarded. So if you had a card with 2 heads on it, you could discard that to add 2 to your willpower value for a task. If there's a question mark, that's a wild symbol. It can match any of them. After you've discarded any cards, you draw from the Chaos bag. This has a number of tokens with values ranging from -4 to +1, mostly negative. So the token you apply to your skill, and if after that, if you've equaled or beaten your target value, you succeed. So it's add cards, draw a token, hopefully you equal the value. The most common form of skill check is an investigation check. So when you reveal a location, which is when you enter it, you add clues equal to the number in the white. The hat means multiply by the number of players. Since there are 2 players, we multiply 2 times 2 and get 4 clues. So this starts with 4 clues. When you do an investigate action, you're searching the location for clues. You do a knowledge skill check, which is the book, against the shroud value, which is the black number. So you take your base, discard any cards, draw a token, and if you equaled or beat 2, you succeeded and you discover 1 of the clues there. If you fail, you get nothing, you wasted your action. The goal of the game is to progress through this act deck. When you have progressed all the way through, it will usually lead to a good resolution, something that will give you benefits for the next scenario. So generally the goal is get through this deck before this deck goes through. To progress, you usually spend clues. So for this one, you'll need to spend 4 clues as a group to get to the next card. It's 2 times the number of players. Once you've accumulated those clues, you can just automatically spend them. It doesn't take an action or anything. You just do it. So at the beginning of the game, you are trapped in the study looking for a way out. You need to discover 4 clues, and of course there happen to be 4 clues on the study in order to progress. For the first turn, we skip the bad phase. We get 1 turn of peace before bad things start happening. So whichever of you wants to can take the first turn, and you'll get 3 actions. So again, the basic drawing and gaining resources are the basic ones. You can play a card as an action, or you can investigate the study searching for clues.
And investigate
is a knowledge skill check. So you start with your book value, which is 3.
All right.
You can then discard book icons to add to the value, and then you draw from the bag. And your target number is 2, because that is the shroud.
I will investigate.
All right. Are you going to add any icons?
So if I have 2 icons in here, does that add 2?
Yep. So then you would have a 5 value for this test.
I will do that.
So you discard that card, and you're now at 5, and your target is 2.
And I just draw 1?
You just draw 1.
4.
Minus 4. So you are at 1, which is less than 2. So you do fail.
Damn.
However, you have a special ability as Windy. You may discard a card to put the token back and redraw.
Discard a card?
Yep. So you don't have to. You can just accept your failure, or you can try again.
Oh, or can I play a thing?
Yes.
All right, I will play Lucky.
So you spend 1 resource to play it.
Okay.
You have failed by less than 2. You increase your skill value by 2. So you succeed at the check. You gain a
Yay.
clue.
So how does your special work? I was reading something else.